Stress relief. I'm always known as a cool kid, entrepreneur, still kid. However, pretty reserved when I don't speak and converse with anybody. I'm the quiet and the rude kid. Will stay rude when observing and subdued. The only safe haven is a state of solitude. Conversation start, never interject. Never stuck with the pack, never smoked cigarettes. Always thinking with the school, focused on intellect. Never came up with an F, midterms, kept breath. All this visit was a couple of acquaintances and friends. Then again, they never was there to the end. Essentially, I was homeless inside. Bukari was a person and a focus of mine. The consequence of that was being more ratified by my peers and my family most of the time. Was at the county fair last night. There was no good friends in sight. No friends to interact with or to get on rides, eat funnel cakes and nap with. But I wasn't upset because I was used to seclusion and neglect. I told myself it wouldn't make no more friends and got associates now. I want to be social, but I don't want anybody to end up holding me down. So I'm the loneliest clown. Popular student, but when I'm not on my pants, I'm too dark and secluded. Felt like love in my city got me closer to me, but not as close to the others like I know it should be. I paid the price, yeah, I know the fee. I keep binging the one with the peace. The cool kid with a misfit at heart. Accepted by many, but I'm still split apart. I'll be pessimistic and be less intensive. I know, but I gotta find my peace by first liking me, and I'll be finding people no more. I gotta be less dependent, less antisocial. Don't assume the worst no more. I wanna be by myself and not fall forever. My safe havens alone.
I'm too indecisive.
Too indecisive when I'm.
This is my son, Remy Rhymes. That was a tight verse.
What got me so over was doing things all on my own, and the rest was just
light work.
I'm not being selfish, I'm smart and protective. I'm too introverted right now. What I just need is some self-therapy and be locked in my room. You want something right, gotta do it yourself. Trying to better myself, trying to get in the mood to not be so negative. If they don't like it, don't pay them no mind.
Yes. Greetings. This is Marte King coming at you live. I am here in the Thunderdome, and I am going to begin a series of streaming live directly from the channel. So I want you to like, comment, and share. We're going to push this on a whole different level. It is time for us to be able to allow other individuals to experience the life-changing benefits of the pH balanced lifestyle. So we want you to like, subscribe to our channel, and we're going to go through the processes. I'm going to take you through what it takes in order for you to become a pH balanced lifestyle coach, for you to be able to reach out to other individuals and help them along to become the best versions of themselves. We're going to take you through. So take your time first. And we're going to also include our workouts, our Hit Legit 21-minute cardio boxing classes. We're going to have Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6:30 p.m. And what we're going to do is have them set up so individuals can actually participate from the cardio boxing class from the convenience of their home. They have to log into our YouTube channel. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and if you want to be a participant and you want to participate in these Hit Legit cardio boxing exercise, please do so. I want to give you an introduction into me, because often, right, we may hear of a solution or an individual's perspective on a solution, but we really don't get the full backdrop on the individual. And I want to make sure that I take this opportunity to give you a backdrop of me, Dr. Marte King. And it's pronounced Marte, not Marty, Dr. Marte King. So I'm going to give you a little backdrop. And this is actually from a book that I'm putting together. And that book, I'm still thinking about the title because I want to be able to let people know who I am, where I came from, so they can possibly better appreciate where I am now. So it's like some of the things that I say that you need to do, it's not coming from somebody high on their horse, standing up somewhere thinking that they better than somebody. No, this is coming from somebody who done been there, done that, went through all the trials and tribulations that anybody could have went through, and have found some better ways to live. And I'm willing to share that with other people. That's where I'm at. Doctor Marte King. Y'all see this right here? That's my Rawway shot. Y'all see me there? That's in Big Yard, Rawway Prison, East Jersey State Prison. Dr. Marte King, president and founder of Repent, Recidivism Prevention Through Entrepreneurial Training. PH Balance LLC, author and mentor who understands from firsthand experiences the impact that nutrition has on every aspect of our life. And as I sit before you, I am a 49-year-old Black man in America, and I have went through the same standard American diet. I have went through the years of substance abuse, went through the years of improper diet. So I know the impacts that it has, and I know how to reverse some of the signs of rapid aging. While serving a 26-year sentence for a drug-induced robbery and looting that crossed multiple cities in 2 states, Mr. King chanced across a study on post-secondary education and recidivism. It claimed that the greatest combatant to returning to prison is education. Now, this is a rough draft, and I'm giving you a backdrop, so I'm going to break down some of it. When I went to prison, I went to trial and was sentenced to 26 years. And although in my heart, I knew that I wasn't going to do that much time, there was absolutely no guarantee. Nevertheless, I continued to strive. I continued to make sure that every day that I was in there, I was preparing for the day that I got out. Every day from day one. And this was my means of being able to deal with the incarceration experience by not really being a part of it, being always preparing for the day that I got out. And I advocate that for most men who are, and women who are stuck behind the walls. Make sure that you take advantage of your time. You're preparing every day for the day that you step foot up out of there. And that is extremely important. While serving his 26-year sentence for a drug-induced robbery and a looting that crossed multiple cities. Now, this thing went from Egg Harbor Township into Atlantic City, back all the way through South Jersey, into Camden, through Camden, then across the Ben Franklin Bridge, then into Philadelphia for a bit, and then they hit we ran out of gas. But this was a ridiculous high-speed chase that resulted from some nonsense. It was nonsense. It was a drug-induced psychosis. And in retrospect, it was it was really an accident. had relapsed, and during that time period, I had a little something to lean on. I had a store, and I had a couple vending tables, and so I had a lot of stuff in a few bank accounts. So I had a lot of stuff to kind of rely on, and I had a massive relapse, and it so happened that I was in getting away from the Camden area where I was located, and people knew me. I couldn't have people know me and see me. So I ran to the Atlantic City area where I was just floating around South Jersey, me and my my son's mother, who was the getaway driver. We were riding all through South Jersey trying to find somewhere just away from people who actually knew us so that we could get high. And I ran across this dude. We went to this gas station. We needed gas, first of all, but it was a dude that I had recognized. I used to have a vending table in Camden, and I made good money off that vending table. That vending table used to pop. So it used to be a lot of people that I was seeing from different places. Well, this kid, I used to see him all the time coming from Atlanta. He's probably going to one of the programs, or we was doing something. But I used to see him all the time. And I knew that he was involved in some illegal activity because I saw it, from being out there in Camden. So he was the attendant. So I'm really getting out to find out what's going on, but I probably looked so crazy that my man was just like, hey, like, I don't want no problem. I promise you that was not it. He was like, hey. So I'm like, all right. So I got in the car and rolled off. Wife was like, yo, what happened? I'm like, yo, keep it moving, dude. Just gave me all his money. I must have looked absolutely crazy. I had to. So it resulted in a high-speed chase that went from there all the way to Philadelphia. Why? Because we still had some stuff. Might as well. We was gonna get locked up. Might as well use them. So we just went on and got high all the way on through, and cried on the when they locked us up. I never forget. All the police helicopters were around, and I can hear him in the background saying, "Don't beat him, don't beat him." And I remember this big burly dude. He came and just snatched me out of the front seat. I'm talking about literally pulled me through the front seat. And that's kind of all I remember. Woke up, I went through the whole CFCF and all that in Philly, State Road. But that was all a part of the process. So in my head is that, I didn't rob nobody. That's not what it was. But the reality is that I was trying to hold off for a better plea bargain. And by that time that kicked in, baby mama had turned state evidence. So the deal was ridiculous. So now I'm stuck, and I ended up fighting as hard as I could, and I ended up losing in trial. When she came to trial and tried to recant her statement, but by that time it was too late. They just played the tapes, and I got the book thrown at me. Got sentenced to 26 years, and with an 11-year stip, and it was all for a bunch of dumb shit. It was stupidity. And so that just goes to show you where I came from. So when I speak on things, or if I push for things to become better, it's not coming from a position of someone who has not been there, who has not been to some depths, who have not suffered from some pain, who has not, as a result of their own actions. Um, what I do is I strive to capitalize on my deficits, on my liabilities, and turn them into assets. And that's what this is all about. We got to be able to look at all those struggles and turn them into successes. So during this robbery, or after this robbery, while I'm sitting there in a prison cell, I am trying to figure out a way. This was the only time in my history of being locked up. And unfortunately, I had been incarcerated a number of times in and out of jail, but I had never been locked up and been a father. And this was the first time. And it was an experience. It was a whole different low, because all I ever wanted to be was a good father. And when you look at some of the issues that tie into substance abuse, relapse, you understand the mental health issues that are directly tied into them. You understand that many of us are suffering from mental health issues, and we choose to self-medicate. And in doing so, the detriments can be tremendous. And we have to find a better way. And I'm exposing that so that individuals can clearly understand that, listen, anybody can. And if I have, then you definitely can. So in this process of feeling bad, looking at my life and wondering, like, wow, my whole life is gone. And this was at the age of 29, being sentenced to 26 years. It's just like, from I had already jacked off 10 years that I had should have been in study, college, and doing all the right things, involved in criminal activity, hustling from coast to coast, thinking that I'm smart enough to outrun me. I'm going from state to state, running from me. And eventually me caught up to me in every one of them states. And I had ended up wasting a whole bunch of time, doing boy things, not really looking at the full picture and the decisions that I made. And I'm not saying that there are not certain social constraints that create or help things to happen, but ultimately the decisions that we make are all on ourselves, and we have to take accountability for it. So that is where I'm at with that. And I made some poor decisions. And in doing so, this really, really hurt me. I could always see my son's face, like the last time I really, saw him before I got locked up. It always hits me. When my son was born, he and I wasn't, our children are really close to their parents. They're really close to their mom. It was a quick attachment. And anytime I would try to hold him, it would be an issue. I couldn't hold him with nothing. And, when he was born, my son was real bright. It looked, it was questionable to me. Like, I'm like, yeah, this is my son. His son wasn't even attachments to me or nothing. And subconsciously, I felt, some distances. And this particular day, my son was crying. He was bawling. And every time my wife, his mother at the time, my wife at the time, his mother, picked him up, he would still continue to cry. Now, normally, that's when he would stop. This time, if I picked him up, and he never let me pick him up, when I picked him up, he started crying. He stopped crying and his whole face lit up. I'm like, damn, this is strange. So I would put him down, he would start crying. Now, mind you, I got a drug transaction that I got going on and I'm trying to get to, and I'm tight late. And I would put him down, he would start crying. I pick him up, his whole face was lit, it stopped. It looked like it wasn't even a tear, nothing. So I would hold him around, and then finally I put him down, handed it to her, and jetted out the door. And we was locked up shortly thereafter. But that is something that always haunts me. That is something that haunted me deeply. And I knew that whether it was going to be 26 years later or tomorrow, I was going to be prepared once I got out of there. And that's what I did. So a part of me trying to figure out what it was that was going to help me stay out is that I came across this study. Now, the study said that the leading combatant, the best thing to get rid of recidivism. Now, recidivism is going back and forth to prison, and I knew that I was going back and forth to prison, and I knew that I wanted to stop. So I'm looking up stuff, and they say recidivism is, they had a study on recidivism in post-secondary education. Okay. So in this study, it showed that people who the recidivism rate was like 60 to 64%, which it's pretty much it right now. That the recidivism rate dropped from 74% to 29% for those who received an associate's degree while they were incarcerated, as opposed to ones who didn't, 74%. They went a step further. They found those who received the bachelor's degree while they were incarcerated. The recidivism rate dropped from 74 to 11%. He went a step further, and they found that the recidivism rate for those who received doctorates or a master's degree or better, the recidivism rate dropped from 74% to 0. The very next year, they took Pell Grants out of prison. Well, that right there showed me that there was something in that education that I needed to have, because I didn't want to go back to prison. So I began my quest for studying. What I found is that there was no way for me to get in there unless I paid for it. So what I began to do is a letter writing campaign. I started a crowdfunding campaign in prison back in 2004, and I got actual copies of the letter that I wrote. It was in 2004. Actually, I started in 2003, and I wanted to get some post-secondary education. So I wrote, and I wrote everybody. I wrote churches, white churches, black churches, synagogues, masjids. I wrote, to George Bush, Oprah Winfrey, Tyler Perry, Muhammad Ali. I wrote all kinds of people. And in that process, I had to change some of the words. I had to learn how to address different demographics. So it kind of boosts my ability to write. And that really began my writing career. And so that was the beginning of it. Um, Writing those letters. I eventually garnered a relationship with a lady at Ohio University. Her name was Alden Hyatt. What is it? Howden Hyatt. She was a tremendous help with me and enabled individuals to be able to oppose just sending money directly to me. They could mail it to the school and care of me. And I ended up taking business administration and communications. I utilized that to be able to teach individuals that was around me. I started teaching people outside the yard, and I was basically doing my homework off of other individuals. And this, I would have, it'd be like 20, 25 jokers in the yard learning, what was, democracy, what is capitalism, and really understanding it. And it was a great time. And I developed a talent for reaching that demographic. So from there, I ended up getting moved to Northern State Prison, which was quote unquote the game prison. And from there, I had my own classroom and I taught, repent, which is the basis of recidivism prevention through entrepreneurial training, because I believe that if you take a man, average man who ends up going through the incarceration experience has an innate risk taking behavior, but propensity for taking on some risk. And if we guide that correctly, then you can come across something that's magnificent. So what we do is to take that innate risk taking behavior and guide it towards legitimate entrepreneurial pursuits. See, that's what's going to be required in order for a person to really be an entrepreneur. You're going to have to be courageous. You're going to have to be able to think outside of the box. What do you think most hustlers are? They just recognize the different playing fields. We got to be able to expand our hustle. That's what this is all about. Expanding that hustle, coming off to something that's better, something that's greater, something that's going to be beneficial. Find things that are going to be beneficial for the community, things that answer problems. This is where we at. So I began teaching that behind the walls. Developed a few different things while there. Sentence. After doing 9.5 years, I got a change of custody to a long-term treatment program in Atlantic City called John Brooks, the John Brooks Recovery Center. So I did 9.5 years and then 6 months in John Brooks, which was a whole different experience. Anyway, after doing that, I came out feet running. I had already written a couple of books, got a little college under my belt. I'm ready to get at it. I'm going to stop there because I'm going to take you through the book, but I want to give you an idea. I want to build up and give you a background of who I am. Dr. Marte King, your pH balanced lifestyle coach. I want to show you that I've been there, that I've done that, and I wrote a book on it. All right, so y'all check me out. This is Dr. Marte King, your pH balanced lifestyle coach, and I'm here to tell you that when it comes to your health, balance is everything.